Hello everyone, this is NainaMD. Welcome to my show, Fusion of Science and Beauty. And I have an amazing, amazing guest today, Sammi Nassar. And he is a phenomenal person. And the reason I say that is because he's going to help me bring the knowledge of what this new age medicine that we're doing, he's personally experienced it.
Correct?
Yeah. And what better person than someone who's personally experienced something in comparison to what you were going through, correct?
Correct, yes.
So basically, for the audience's sake, tell us a little bit about. I don't want to get into anything that's that's personal to you. So that's why I want you to tell us.
Sure.
What might be the experience that you've had before? What were some of the things that happened? And just to make the audience a little aware of what this anti-aging regenerative medicine can do, how credible it can be. And believe me, you have been through very educated and very, very well aware of what medical treatments are and very savvy on that.
Correct? Yeah, thank you so
very
much.
Very discerning, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Naina. I guess just to kind of start from the back in the day, I've always been a very active person. Since I was 15 years old.
What do you do? What do you do?
I do international business sales for a big shipping company here.
Yeah.
I've been in LA for about 2 years, and so far so good. I've really enjoyed it.
Where were you before LA?
Before then, I grew up in Illinois, and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
I was in Chicago. I was in Chicago for a long time.
Yeah, Chicago was a big place that I used to go all
the
the time. Yeah, the Midwest.
Yeah.
But I guess just to kind of backtrack, since I've been about 15, 16 years old, I started working out, and it was a kind of way to relieve stress, and, to kind of feel masculine and kind of an outlet from all the stresses of life and so forth.
Yeah.
And once time evolved, you wanted to get a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger and so forth. So I would work out a lot, use certain things or supplements to make myself bigger. And then eventually you came to a point where you kind of plateaued. And then within that whole entire time, I realized I would get tired, and I couldn't understand why I was getting so tired.
Because if you're working out,
Correct.
You've got amazing muscle. It's so like you're wondering how come I'm getting tired and being healthy, so to speak, right?
And at night I'd have just problems sleeping. It wasn't that I had full insomnia, but I would just toss and turn all the time. It wasn't a full 8 hours of sleep.
Right.
So I went to my regular physician, asked him his take on it. He's like, oh, here's some Xanax, here's some Ambien that will kind of help you. So, of course...
Not realizing it, did they tell you that Ambien is not addictive, but it can be habit forming?
Correct.
And Xanax can be, addictive. So, but those are in medicine, conventional medicine, those are pretty much the options we have, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's kind of all he had and was there to show me.
Yeah.
So of course I did that, and eventually, it worked initially for the time being. But then I either got just so used to it that my body didn't really function with it, and then just being tired is really hard to focus in your day life when you're working and doing so many other things.
Plus, you're so ambitious and into international sales and so forth. You've got to have that focus.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, that's very, very key.
We call it in anti-aging medicine. We say you're dopamine driven because you've got to have the get up and go neurotransmitters, the epinephrine, the dopamine levels have to be par excellence.
Correct.
For you.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's referred to one of my great friends, Dr. Jason Emmer. He's like, go try Naina out. She's totally different. It's a kind of different way of thinking and looking at anti-aging medicine. So I came here, and it was a wonderful experience. You really went into the nitty-gritty of little things, I gave you an analysis of what I was taking. Right. We did then the specific tests. When the tests came back, you saw, what was kind of off, what was right. And then you gave me the specific regimen to kind of take. And of course, me being any type of person, I was, a little nervous about taking something different.
You were.
Who wouldn't be nervous?
Yeah.
And literally, after 5 days of taking it, I was sleeping every single night. I would wake up, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning refreshed, like ready to take on the world.
And this is not addictive medicine.
Correct.
This is not a prescription medicine that we did, right? We kind of figured out what your biochemical imbalances were.
Correct.
And I tried to have your own, pretty much what I gave you was what your body should have already either been getting through a diet, or making.
Correct, yeah.
And that's what I did. I actually, I addressed your neurotransmitter imbalances. That's what I did.
That's what you did. The way I can even look at it in a simpler form even is like a plant that had no water.
Yes.
And finally I received that water, and now I'm flourishing. As you even mentioned today, my energy has changed. I'm very happy. I'm really ambitious, which really then translates into me being very successful at work and making good money.
Yeah.
And just being very happy and optimistic about the future. And I really owe all this to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all of that. Yeah.
No, tell me. So, give me an idea about what do you think? What do you think conventional medicine? And this is getting into like a little bit more I guess, a discussion on this. As someone who's seen both ends of it, what do you think it was in conventional medicine that was lacking? What would you have liked to see more? Like, let's say the doctor have done more.
I think maybe doctor.
I mean, and they're highly trained. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Again, we know conventional medicine is phenomenal. We've got phenomenal doctors. But what do you think, in terms of in your perspective,
Yeah.
is lacking that perhaps they could either retrain? We as physicians could retrain or get more educated on.
I think the big thing is maybe a lot of these doctors are scared of the risk. What happens if, not everything works the same way for every person. It's not standard. And a lot of them, can get, blacklisted or can get in trouble. So I think a lot of them are scared to do that. But if they were, like you mentioned, being retrained, because even in my job, I'm trained every couple of months on something new or something different that's going to either help or really enable me. And I think if they did the same thing with doctors and had a specific team that would come in and just, throw the ideas out there so the ideas kind of flourish into their head, and then they can take those ideas and mold them into things that are going to help their specific
So let me get into that, all right? Because I think it's important for a patient or a client to understand. So when you say doctors get in trouble, that's when they don't follow standard of care. Okay, there are standard of care protocols that are set, but the art of medicine is getting to know that interaction with your patient, right?
Correct.
If we just had protocols and we had set things, which is what I think insurance companies and managed healthcare are trying to do, why do you need me? Why would you just not be overtaken by a robot? Robot could just sit there, go through the computer analysis on you, figure it out what it is. Okay, you're not sleeping, give you the Ambien, give you the Xanax, and if that didn't work, you go boom, boom, boom. You'd go down the list of referrals to medicines to whatever, okay? There's something known as the art of medicine. And if you go back in ancient healing, if I'm a healer, then that's what I need to exercise. It's that art of medicine, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So part of that then involves is to be able to say, which I did, that if I gave you certain things, they're off-label, or if I even handled certain medicines, I could tell you, look, this is an off-label use, but this is this is my thinking, and this is what we're going to try.
Correct.
Close monitoring. Usually all those bad results and those horrible things you hear about is people just say, here, try this, and there's no follow-up, no interaction, no communication, right?
Correct, yes.
So one of those things is going off-label on, let's say, some of the medicines. But the other thing, too, is if I was to give you natural things, to say, listen, this is the biochemical reasoning why, and then there's some studies that show this is existing, and that's a field called functional medicine, which I told you about, right? Gave you the websites. Go to functionalmedicine.org, how we started the Institute of Functional Medicine, how it's Mark Hyman. Dr. Hyman has written a book and has been very passionate. And in George Washington University, he's implementing functional medicine.
Wonderful. Nice,
and part of, I think, the anti-aging and regenerative medicine, in my opinion, when I go and teach this, you cannot practice this without having that functional medicine aspect of it.
Correct. I agree.
Right? And that's really what I did. And if maybe doctors, like you said, it's recertification examinations are great, but again, it's based on a lot of it textbook knowledge, some of the standard articles. It's not new medicines as it's changing, evolving. Right? And you said, like, you're training people. Why is it in your field you're constantly changing, constantly evolving, constantly retraining?
Correct.
Right? Based on new information even a month ago, 2 months ago. In medicine, it lags that because there's, again, protocols that need to be changed, standards of care. So I think that the physician needs to be every day reading their biochemistry. That's what I do. That's what I do.
You're in charge of someone's life. You're there to, you're the healer. That's really what it is.
And if you don't know the biochemistry, to be able to see those biochemical imbalances, a lot of the disease states, like if I tell you of insomnia, okay, insomnia is you had insomnia, which was an ability not to sleep, correct?
Correct.
So what did we give you? We just figured out, okay, we'll go through some of the stuff, like, okay, do you like take sugar before you go to bed, or coffee? You know, some of the easy stuff, right? Like that you go through some of the sets questions, determine, okay, this person is still having insomnia, but I've gone through this checklist, and then we give you a drug to basically to say, okay, let's give you a GABA support. GABA is a neurotransmitter help you to sleep. Okay, in what I did different with you was to say, wait a minute, what are some of the things that the body, like maybe amino acids, or some things that the body could produce that would help you? There's also hormones that males have that help produce some of the things that you need to sleep.
Correct, yeah.
Okay? So that's kind of what I'm talking about, is that knowledge is the biochemistry. So I figured out the biochemistry and the biochemical imbalance,
Yeah.
and then in 5 days, that was pretty quick.
It was very quick, which is crazy. Yeah.
And which is, and a lot of the patients, if you know it, usually if you go for the system that you're going to imbalance and you go for that, you see a result usually in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be with me if you didn't see a result in a couple of weeks. It's like, okay, you know what?
Why
I
would I
tried
come
her.
back?
Yeah,
Correct. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about the energy. What do you think is again? What do you think was a little different in terms of the? Obviously, sleeping now gives you more energy, but in addition, what do you think in terms of some of the things that we might have done that was different from the traditional medicine?
I think the biggest thing is I remember like in the morning I'd wake up very tired and very groggy. Now I wake up at like 6, 7 a.m. and I'm ready to take on the world. And I'm not taking, and it's not because of the coffee or not because of the energy drinks or any other type of stimulants. I think it's just because I think what you really did, the biggest thing was you looked at my entire scope after looking at all my different tests, and instead of just giving me something to fill it in, you really wanted to see what that gap was missing, and then you filled in that gap, and with that being filled, it helped kind of even everything else out, which really brought me to a really good equilibrium.
I think those are known as what we call optimum levels.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly it.
I optimized you.
You really did, yeah.
And in return, I thank you because you optimized me to do better in my job. Because
thank you. Yeah.
It's only that kind of feedback that makes me go and say, okay, this is I need to go and learn more about this, or if something wasn't quite right, or sometimes we go through that. I recently asked me a question, hey, could I do this instead of this? So I think through it. I'm going to look at this, see what the biochemistry of perhaps something was. It's that interaction, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is personalized.
Yeah.
Isn't medicine to stay personalized?
It's very personalized. It's coming to almost like a personal shopper in a way. For personal medicine, you come to you and you kind of really figure it out. You're not just throwing anything at me just to see the next person. It's very personalized, very concierge type of care.
Well, thank you so much for being on my show.
I
know you had to take time out from your busy day.
No problem. I'd love to be here.
Really, I so appreciate it. And I think the audience, please appreciate, because we are having people that are highly, highly successful people who are taking time out of their day for no other purpose but to come here and to share their story and help me promote the passion that we have, is that medicine is changing, it's evolving, and there's a demand, and this anti-aging regenerative medicine is not quackery. It can be truly credible if it's done right.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
for having
again.
me. Of course.
Okay. And we'll be right back.